What's up, you guys? It's Liberation Gaming here today with another Vanguard Zero deck list. This time we are looking at Nova Grapplers. So this deck is what I played exclusively in ranked up until my Grand Blue got to like a playable state. I played this all throughout the entirety of the soft launch Singapore season. I ended up 8th place in the leaderboards with Legend 67, I want to say, is what I stopped at. And this got me about to like Legend 35, 40, something like that this season, and then that's when I started playing Grand Blue mostly in ranked. But this list has been through the ringer. It's really strong. Nova Grappler in general is really strong. It's like probably, I would say Kagero is probably the best deck to climb with in like this sets format, I guess, the beginning of the game. But Nova Grappler is like right under there, especially if you have like all of the cards. Asura Kaiser is so strong. Just they have a good solid game plan, and this deck just slaps, dude. This deck just starts striking. It doesn't have any intention on stopping. Like it's fantastic. So what you're looking at on the left over there is the deck list. As usual, we have posted up here, and then we're just gonna be going through it. So let's get right into it. Starting from the grade 3s, we have Asura Kaiser. Now this should absolutely be of 4 copies. I only have 3, and I'm not crafting the 4th one until I open all my packs that I'm saving for set 2, just in case I pull that 4th one. But ideally, if you have 4 of these bad boys, play 4 of these bad boys. Asura Kaiser is the GOAT of the deck. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 stand one of your rear guards, this is insane. You turn every trigger into also stand trigger. This means that you don't really want to play stands. Draws are mostly optimal because you have them anyways as standing your dudes in general. Like you have more cards that stand up when you check grade 3s, so you really don't need stands at all. They're pretty overkill. And you usually don't need to stand a full column anyway because the first attack doesn't require a boost normally. Nova Grappler's multi-attacking in general got a little bit of a nerf because of the way damage shields work in the game, but also a bit of a buff because you don't always have to boost. So you can kind of save your boosters sometimes. So you mostly want to just play draws. As you can see, we do play draws and crits, which I'll get more into later on. But Asura Kaiser just lets you destroy through hand. You can break through double intercepts and still kill people. Break through double intercept, double PGs. Like this, Asura Kaiser is just insane. If you check 2 triggers, like you get 5 attacks. Like that's absolutely insane. And the deck has the capability to pump numbers out to make sure that all of those attacks hit for the most part. So Asura Kaiser is just great. Like there's really not a lot to say about this card. It's just look at that effect. That's just so strong. Then to support Asura Kaiser, we have our backup Vanguard. This is Gold Rutile. He is pretty good when he's on the Vanguard circle, and one of your rear guards hits Vanguard, you counter charge 1. And then when he himself hits Vanguard, you can counter blast 2 to stand something. So generally, the thing you're standing is going to be able to hit Vanguard, so it's really more of a counter blast 1. And also lets like your on-hit Carrara be more of a counter blast 1, basically. He's pretty nice. Like if you're not on Asura Kaiser, sometimes he is better. The only thing that's annoying is like if you check crits on him, you can stop the hit. It has its drawbacks. Obviously, he's a 10k base as opposed to Asura Kaiser's 11k base. You by no means want to be on this guy over Asura Kaiser, but you won't always draw Asura Kaiser. So this is pretty much the best backup you have. If you're doing this deck like really early on in the game and it's more of a budget build, this guy is like the actual legend. Like Gold Rutile is he's really freaking good. For just a single rare, this card's absolutely insane. The value he provides and the plays he opens the deck up to are almost the same as Asura Kaiser, basically, because like really when you think about it, most of the time things you're standing with Asura Kaiser won't hit for the most part unless you get a trigger anyway, so they're almost kind of the same in that sense as long as you have the counter blast. So Gold Rutile is a really good backup, you need them in here. Then our other grade 3s basically we just play a bunch of rear guard grade 3s to help us hit numbers and open up more combo chains. So we have, first of all, the king of memes, the legend himself, the ultimate life form, my avatar, Cosmolord. I pulled 5 of this thing, so like, I mean, he's chosen me, dog. Cosmolord, bro. So Cosmolord is actually, as much of a meme he is, this card is actually pretty sick. So on Vanguard or Rear Guard Circle, you can rest a rear guard to give him 3,000 power until the end of turn. Now this is actually pretty nice. You can do a lot of plays with this. Most of the time, your right side column won't need their booster, so you can basically just ensure, or your Vanguard most of the time doesn't need a booster at all unless you're trying to make like big plays and they have no intercepts. So you have a lot of room to rest something to basically make him a 20 or a 21k column. just a really easy, like, oh, you got a defensive? Cosmolord does not care. Cosmolord does not care. He never cared. It's very, very nice. There's nice things you can do too. So like if you have Death Army guy, who is when you check a grade 3, he stands as well. If you have a column of him and Cosmolord, you can rest the army guy. If the Cosmolord has to swing into a rear guard, you can rest the army guy, swing Cosmolord for 13k into the rear guard, and because you don't need the boost from army guy unless you check the 3 to stay on the Cosmolord. So you check the 3, stay the full column. When you check the 3, now it's 25k. Cosmolord just lets you hit really, really sick numbers. If you really need like go for game, you can like rest 3 or 4 and he starts hitting like 25 and up. Like he's honestly pretty good. I play 2 of him and 2 of the Death Metal Droid. You could play 4 of either or depending on what your preference is. I like the split because you don't always have the rear guards to give Cosmolord, but you don't always have the counterblast to give Death Metal Droid. So they kind of exist in a really good like back and forth limbo there. But Death Metal Droid is basically a similar ability. When he attacks, you can Counterblast 1 to give him plus 3,000 power. So he basically serves the same function as Cosmolord, just in a little bit of a different vein of the cost category. So it's really, if you have a preference, like you can play more army droids, you can play metal droids, or you can play more Cosmolords. If you do play more countercharge in your deck, the Death Metal Droid could be better, but it's really kind of up to you. I like the 2 and 2 split personally. And then our last 2 of is Lion Heat over here. Lion Heat is basically our mini gold Rutile, but who also works on rearguard. So when he hits Vanguard or rearguard circle, when he hits the Vanguard, you can Counterblast 2 to stand another rearguard. Now this seems really good if he's only a 2 of, because basically he's only really good if you don't check triggers while on Asura Kaiser, because sometimes it happens and you'll just go like not Lion Heat into 1 attack, Asura Kaiser into 1 attack, oh I checked no triggers, swing with the Lion Heat, if you hit, restand your other rear guard, if it's even going to hit at that point. That's why I don't really play too many copies, but I don't really want to rely on the Lion Heat, because most of the time if you don't check triggers, your 4 attacks will not all connect anyway, so he's not that great. He's an okay ride, even though like we're playing the 4 Rutiles and the 3 Asura Kaisers because we're trying to ride one of those 2. But if you are unfortunate to ride Lion Heat, he's not the worst thing in the world. He's just gold Rutile without the countercharge basically. And if you are on gold Rutile, he is actually pretty tight because gold Rutile makes him Counterblast 1 to stand something basically, which is pretty nice. So these grade 3s all really exist in a nice tandem with each other. I would say if you have the 4th Asura Kaiser, you would probably cut one of your Cosmolords / Metal Droid spot, and you'd probably just play a 3 of one of them, or a 2 and a 1, however you want to split that. But I think gold Rutile should probably stay at 4 just because like having 8 ideal cards to ride is really nice. But that's ultimately just up to you, like how much you want to risk it. That's just what I would personally do with the 4th Asura Kaiser. Now moving on to the grade 2s, we have the King this man. Actually, let's bring the SP up. Boom, Brutal Jack, baby. So this card is an 11,000 power grade 2 with restraint. He cannot attack. You can Counterblast 1 to drop his restraint. In the old game, this was only till end of turn. In the new game, or in Zero, it's you lose your restraint permanently. Not that like your Jack will probably survive, because it's a grade 2, but if you ride it and your grade stuck on it, that's kind of, it's a thing. Anyway, it's nice. He loses restraint permanently, and then on the Vanguard Circle, when he's boosted, he gets +5. So this card serves a few like minor purposes in the deck, but they're all like, they all come together to make a really powerful card. Aside from just being an 11k beat stick, you have a lot of 11k beat sticks in this deck. So sometimes it's hard for your opponent to swing over your rear guards. Just being a grade 2 with intercept, just having intercept on the 11k body is really strong. And then if you ride him, he actually does, if he's great to be grade locked on. Like sometimes if I don't have a Asura Kaiser or gold Rutile in hand, I will stay on Jack instead of riding into one of my subpar grade 3s. I will stay on Jack sometimes because being able to just hit for 20 plus, like as an 11k, twin drive ain't nothing. You don't need twin drive. But Jack just lets you do a lot of things. He lets you be aggro turn 2. So like if you go first, or if they go first and they ride a 9k grade 2, having the Battle Riser behind your Vanguard lets Jack hit for 19, because 11 plus 3 is 14. His ability to give +5 is 19. So any other rear guard swinging first into their Vanguard, and then 19 with Jack, that hits over defensive, lets you ensure that 2 damage on turn 2. Now, if they go first and they ride a 10k or something, your Jack will not be able to swing over a defensive unless you put a different booster behind your Vanguard instead of the Battle Riser. But I would never recommend committing a booster behind your Vanguard in this deck unless they just like do not play grade 2s and you're just trying to go in for the damage. Because most of the time your attack pattern in this deck is you're trying to go rear guard, take out their intercepts, and then Vanguard Asura Kaiser, check grade 3, stand rear guard, full column swing, that kind of thing. But for the most part, you don't want to end up with like a booster behind your Vanguard. They're a lot more valuable behind your rear guards to make sure your other attacks hit on their restands. But Jack is really, really good. We would play 4 Jack if we had, once again, not crafting that 4th one. I have like materials to craft like 3 Nova Triple Rares, but I'm not crafting a thing because crafting Perfect Risers is going to be so much more important because set 2 drops in just a couple days. But if you have 4 Jacks, play 4 Jacks. If you're concerned about the counterblast, don't be. There's one other card that counterblasts like actively in this deck if you're not a Asura Kaiser, and like it's not really a concern. I never run into counterblast issues. You can play more counter charges if you're really worried about that, but if you have the 4 Jacks, play the 4 Jacks. Next we have Death Army Lady. Her effect is when you draft check a grade 3, stand this unit. Now she's really, really good. She's a little more important than the Death Army guy because she lets us set up really strong plays if they play double intercept. So generally what you want to do with Army Lady is if you have her and then another rear guard, swing with both of them into both their intercepts. If you swing with Asura Kaiser, you check 1 grade 3, you stand both your front row rear guards, and hopefully they can hit over your opponent's defensives. But she's really, really good for those situations, or even in just situations where like they're at 5. Like she lets you just generate the more attacks to hopefully break through however many PGs your opponent has. Because if you get that full front row stand, even if they have double intercept, like, I mean, they have to have double PG too. It's like Death Army Lady just extends your attack combos. Really, really nice. She would probably be a 3 of if I had the extra copy. But we'll get more into that later. Next grade 2 we're going to talk about is Magician Girl Kirara. She is on the Vanguard or rear guard circle. When her attack hits, you can counterblast 2 to draw a card. This is really, really nice. Like, Nova Grapplers having draw power is really, really strong. This card was strong in the original game because, like, aggro decks just didn't really have ways to generate an advantage. But she's even better now because they can't block her attack because Zero mechanics are cool. The counterblast 2 is, like, a little hefty, but most of the time, if you don't have to ride Gold Root Tile, your main counterblast plan is 1 or 2 of these and then 1 or 2 Brutal Jacks. That's your main counterblast plan. Death Metal Droid may come up, you know, do it if you need it, but that's mostly how you want your counterblast to go. So you can use this once or twice a game, and you'll be fine for the most part. She's just really, really nice. Like, especially if you have Gold Root Tile on Vanguard, she hits Vanguard, it's counterblast 1 to draw 1, which is really, really nice. She would probably be a 2 of, ideally. I realize I'm talking about a lot of numbers here. I'm gonna give you the ideal grade 2 lineup if you have maxed out Novas once we finish going through the grade 2s. But she's really, really strong. I like her at 3. She could definitely be a 2 of though if you have better things to play. But I see her and I'm like, that's cool. If your opponent rushes you and you have 2 damage turn 2 and you don't have Jack, you can get a nice draw on your turn 2. If they give you 3 damage, you can Jack and her. Like, she's just nice to have. I'm playing 1 Transriser. I know a lot of people will really, really, really like this card. I personally am not a huge fan of the variables because if it whiffs, you lose out on the trigger you would have hit, and it can't hit anything by itself. It has intercept, yes, but it's a 7k, so sometimes if your opponent doesn't have good cards, like if they can't make good columns, they can just play anything and still hit it. In the mirror match, it sucks to like just have this because even if they play 1 and it whiffs, it still gets value because it swings into yours. I'm just not a huge fan of this card. It definitely gets a lot more important when risers come out, but for the most part, I don't know. It's just not for me. I like playing things that are going to for sure hit when I play them down. I don't find the risk is worth the Transriser a lot of the times. I know when it pops off and it's great because like you really need boosters and this deck doesn't have any other ways to get them. But I just don't like the success to failure. I know it has a bigger chance because of the amount of normal units in your deck as opposed to triggers, or the amount of grade 2 or less as opposed to 3s. It has a better chance of going off than not, but I'm still just not crazy about it. It's a 1 of for me. Now the King of Sword is our boy right here. He's just like 10k vanilla. He swings over stuff. He's harder to hit over. He hits numbers. That's all he's really there for. He's a nice backup ride if you don't find Jack. Being able to consistently ride into a 10k plus Vanguard on turn 2 is very, very nice. Just to help your opponent, just to help you not get rushed so hard by your opponent. It's really nice. Ideally, if we had all the cards, we would probably drop 1 Kirara and 1 Transriser for a Jack and an Army Lady. So I'd be playing 4 Jacks, 4 Kings, 3 Army Ladies, and 2 Carraras. That would be my ideal grade 2 lineup once I get the last couple cards I need for Novas. Moving on to the grade 1s, we have 4 PGs. That's just, you know, a must. You know, you don't want to lose the game. Losing the game, not very beneficial, so we play these. Absolutely necessary 4 of. Not even a conversation topic. No deck can get away with playing less than 4. Well, Kagero can get away with it, but you still shouldn't. You still shouldn't if you have the 4. Our other 4 of is our Tough Boy. Our Tough is a very tough boy. He's just our AK vanilla. He, like I said, he lets us hit numbers, helps us not get rushed as hard when we ride him. He's good. He lets us hit 21 with the Cosmolord and the Death Metal Droid. Good numbers, very nice. We like the Tough Boy. Then we have Death Army Guy as a 3 of. He's not as important as the lady, but he still is nice. Like I said, he lets us make those plays with Cosmolord. He lets us hit better numbers on our restands. Like if we have something like I said, they have an 11k grade 2, and we can't have a King or a Carrara or an Army Lady to swing alone on it. Army Guy comes in when you need to boost to hit their rear guards. If you have a column of double grade 1s, Army Guy will let you resend that whole column when it comes up. He can hit 15 with a Tough Boy. That's a real column a lot of times. So he's still a pretty crucial component of the deck. He's also nice for like those when they're at 5 damage plays and you just need to try and check a grade 3 to stand like both your front row rear guards. Army Guy helps that because you can put any grade 1 to boost him, and then boom, you get your 5 attacks off. And hopefully it'll kill him. So he just extends our plays, helps us attack more in those scenarios where we literally just need to bust through PGs and we're not worried about hitting numbers. So he's very nice. He's very nice. I wouldn't play him as a 4 of personally. I think 3 is fine, but it really just depends on what you want your last slot to be. My last slot, these 2 slots can be literally anything in my opinion. I have Claydol Mechanic here at 2. When he's placed, countercharge 1. He's kind of nice just in the situations where you're like, God, I really wish I had that 1 more CB right now. He's a nice thing. If you draw him, you know, he's great turn 2 with Jack because you can immediately countercharge the damage. If they deal you 2 damage and you have Jack Carrara, you can get Jack and Carrara off on turn 2. He's just a solid 2 of. This could really be a lot of things. This could be the Cray Soldier. I'm not personally a huge fan of the Cray Soldier. I think it's basically just a budget Death Army Guy. In like it's better in like not optimal scenarios. So I'm not crazy about the Cray Soldier, and I don't play the Toolkit Boy. You don't need the countercharge that much. The one countercharge you get from Claydol here is basically if you draw one of these, like you're just gonna have Counterblast to spin. Like you're gonna have Counterblast to waste, in my opinion. So 2 of Claydol's fine, but that can basically be whatever you want, really up to you. Then our starter here is Battle Riser. He's a 3k starter, but after he boosts, you draw a card and he goes back into the deck with a stand trigger icon. So this is pretty awesome. The 3k boost is not fantastic, but if we ride Jack, we get the +5, so we swing for 19. So most of the time that is fine. Excuse me, that is perfectly fine. If we don't draw Jack, he kind of just becomes a dead booster, but it's fine because like he literally goes back to the deck, gives you a stand trigger in the deck, and then you draw a card. It's like he literally can change into something useful. Worst case scenario, you draw a trigger with him and he turns into an attacker. Like he's just solid, ups your trigger count and lets you draw into things you need. Last thing to talk about is our trigger lineup. So we're playing 7 draw and 2 crits. As I said before, you don't need stands in this deck. You could play 9 draw. You totally could, and that would be perfectly fine. 9 draw is fine. It lets you see the things you want to see. It's a perfectly fine lineup. I'm playing 2 crits personally, just for a little extra cheese. When they come up, they can really go hard, and it's pretty nice. Like a lot of times, they will just let you get, just let you steal damage sometimes. And in a lot of situations, when your opponent is at 4 damage, the crit is really nice because you can swing with 1 rear guard. And then you're Asura Kaiser at their Vanguard, and if you check the crit, you force their PG, and then you put your power on your other column that hasn't attacked yet, and then you get to stand your thing that attacked already, and then they'll attack, put them to 5, and then your other lane has the power from your trigger, so you're still hitting over a defensive if they get it. So the crits are actually like pretty sick in those scenarios. I would never play more than 2. This deck needs to draw as much as it can. You need those pieces, dude. You need to build a board so you can immediately start bashing face in. You need to have cards in hand so you can recur when Kagero blows up all your stuff. You need those draws. But I think the 2 crit is it's the Chad lineup in my opinion. But we're Chads here. We're Chads here on this channel. So that's really my list. This deck is oh so strong. I think I'm packing like, I want to say 800 something wins with this deck right now. It's what got me to Legend 67 and then now to Legend. Like, it's really good. If you're trying to climb through early ranks in Legend and you have most of this deck is like really strong. Play a lot of crits with Gold Rutile. It's gonna cheese you a lot of games getting to Legend. Like, I think this is probably either this or like Blockade Kagero is the best way to get to Legend if that's where you're looking. And then even past that, like even past Legend, this is gonna get you through the ranks like crazy. We got 867 wins on Novas. The deck is really freaking strong. I love it. And if you have most of this deck right now, it's about to get so much stronger because set 2 is gonna set 2 is gonna be dropping in just a couple days now as of recording this, and we're gonna get Perfect Riser, and at that point Perfect Riser makes Novas arguably the best deck in the format. Once that drops, if we get pre-nerfed Ambers, it's probably like the best deck in the format. And you play basically all of these things still in Perfect Riser. You kind of just put the Riser chain into this deck. You still want Asura Kaiser, he's still a dog. You still want your Brutal Jax, he's still a dog. Like, you still want to play all of those cards in Perfect Riser when it comes out. So if you've been grinding your Kamui fights and you have all your Nova stuff and you're ready for Perfect Riser, good on you. You're about to have a really good time in Ranked Season 3, like I am. But that's about all I have to talk about, I think. I would talk about matchups, but like the things are pretty normal right now. You kind of just attack things and hope that it works out. OCT is a pretty good matchup for you because you have the best chance to kill them before they get to their Silent Tom win con. Kagero is a tough matchup because if they retire your things and you can't recur, it can get really hard to get damage in. And then Royals, you can kind of beat up Royals, to be honest, unless they like hard draw Blaster Blades and heal. Like, you kind of just beat them up. They don't have the aggro that you have, and you have the 11k. It's a pretty good matchup. But yeah, that's about all I have to say for the deck. I am going to, after this cutaway, leave a link. There's going to be a fight with this, a card fight with this deck coming up after the ending here. So you guys are gonna get to see it a bit in action. I am probably going to be streaming soon. Possibly in a season 2, but at that point I'll have risers, so it won't be exactly this list, but we'll be streaming a lot of Nova gameplay. That's still my primary deck, and it'll be what I'm playing mostly going into the next ranked season, so I can try and get those sweet overlords. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more. Gonna have Twitch and Facebook page links in the description below. You're gonna be able to get updated when I start streaming, when I start grinding through the ranks with this deck, and I hope to see you guys there.
手加減しませんからね。望むところだよ。スタンドアップ、ヴァンガード、スタンド&ドロー、ライド。 スタンド&ドロー、ライド、ヴァンガードにアタック、ドライブチェック、ダメージチェック、スタンド&ドロー、荒れ狂う邪悪なる魂解放、ジェノサイドジャックに俺様ライド発動。来い、行け、ヴァンガードにアタック、あ、ダメージチェックとドロートリガー、ヴァンガードにアタック、ドライブチェックとクリティカルトリガー、ダメージチェックとヒールトリガー、 発動。
スタンドアンドドロー。立ち上がれ僕の分身ライドブラスターブレード。スキル発動。お願い。来て。ヴァンガードにアタック。ドライブチェック。
ダメージチェック。スタンドアンドドロー。百撃必殺。強さで全てをなぎ払え。アシュラカイザーに俺様大王。コール。スキル発動。リアガードにアタック。リアガードにアタック。ヴァンガードにアタック。ファーストチェック。セカンドチェック。クリティカルトリガー。スキル発動。
ダメージチェック。ゲットクリティカルトリガー。
ヴァンガードにアタック。
ダメージチェック。
スキル発動。
スタンドアンドドロー。降臨せよ戦士たちの主ライド騎士王アルフレッド。来て。来て。スキル発動。来て。お願い。リアガードにアタック。アタック。
ダメージチェック。
ヴァンガードにアタック。ファーストチェック。セカンドチェック。スタンドトリガー。
ダメージチェック。ドロートリガー。
リアガードにアタック。
スタンドアンドドロー。コール。コール。スキル発動。リアガードにアタック。ヴァンガードにアタック。ファーストチェック。スタンドトリガー。セカンドチェック。
完全ガード。
ヴァンガードにアタック。
ダメージチェック。
さすがは俺様。